Welcome, everyone, to the Aging and Spirituality podcast. We're so happy to see you here. This is where we talk about people that are over 60 years old, how they can discover and experience their unrealized potential. So if you're one of those people that has wondered, what can I do with my life now that will really make a difference for myself and for others? This is really the show for you. I'm Kathy Lee Taylor.
And I'm Chris Jensen.
And today's going to be a little bit different because I didn't really feel like talking to you or trying to teach about anything. And I was really in the mood for a good story, kind of feeling nostalgic. So I put together some stories for you that I'm hoping you're going to enjoy. Doesn't require any effort on your part. You just need to sit there and relax and listen and enjoy the ride.
Sounds like fun to me.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, and Chris is in the mood where she's gonna enjoy it too. It's been a challenging week for both of us. We were
Yes.
talking about it before the podcast, so this is going to be fun for her as well. And she'll pop into every once in a while, and we'll still have a conversation. But the thing about I wanted to talk about that I was feeling nostalgic about is how when we get older and we realize how our friendships really change. I was thinking about, when was the last time you thought about when you were a little kid and you knew that your best friend was there whenever you needed her?
Mm.
That little kid that you grew up with, that if you wanted to play, one of you just had to show up and you would take it from there. You would just go with the flow. Whatever was happening, you knew what you wanted to do and you just played together. It was like game on whenever you just saw this person. And it was always a good time. And I miss that playing. I miss that kind of friendship where there isn't, parameters that are attached to the relationships like they do when you're an adult. It's so much more joyful and so free and so unlimited. So anyway, all these memories are coming up about being a little kid, and it feels so nice to tune into that feeling. And so what I did is put some stories together for you to listen to. So, dear listener, just sit back and enjoy. I'm going to start with story number 1. The porch swing creaked rhythmically as Amelia clutched a worn leather-bound book. The fading afternoon sun cast long shadows across the yard, painting the familiar landscape in a nostalgic glow. Inside the book, a collection of pressed flowers and faded photographs held the memories of a lifetime. Memories of a girl named Claire, whose laughter echoed across the meadows and whose smile chased away Amelia's every fear. They were inseparable, two halves of a whole, building forts under the old oak tree and sharing secrets whispered under the starlight skies. Amelia turned a page, a faded photograph falling onto her lap. It was a picture of them both when they were 10 years old, faces smeared with chocolate after a disastrous attempt at baking a birthday cake. They were laughing, their eyes crinkled at the corners, a testament to the unspoken bond that they shared. A wave of longing washed over Amelia. It had been decades since the last time she saw Claire. Life had taken them down different paths, scattered them like leaves in the wind. Yet here, amidst the remnants of their childhood, Claire felt even closer. Amelia reached for a pen and a paper. The urge to connect was overwhelming. In her shaky handwriting, she began to write, pouring out the memories that flooded her mind. They shared joys, silly fights, the whispered dreams that intertwined their destinies. She wrote about the day they climbed the highest tree in the forest, their hearts pounding excitedly as they surveyed the world from their lofty perch. She wrote about the nights spent huddled under blankets, sharing stories and fears, their teenage hearts overflowing with unspoken emotions. As she wrote, the years melted away. She was no longer a grandmother with wrinkles etched on her face, but a carefree child again, running through the fields of wildflowers with Claire by her side. She wrote late into the night. The only sounds were the rhythmic creak of the swing and the crickets chirping. By the time the first rays of dawn kissed the horizon, she had filled pages with stories and emotions. Folding the letter carefully, Amelia tucked it inside the book, a silent promise to rekindle a friendship lost to time. Maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late to pick up where she left off. Maybe the laughter and the joy of their childhood could bloom again, like the wildflowers that once adorned the meadows of their youth. Sweet.
That's so touching. Oh my gosh.
My heart is, I was trying not to cry
I
during just
know, I know.
thinking
It's so
about it.
sweet.
But can you think about that person that, you would really love to reconnect with? I mean, I think the second story I'm going to read was similar to the friend that I had when I was younger, and we just completely lost touch. And, I counted on her for everything. I mean, all I had to do was go to my bedroom window and yell out the window, yell her name, and she would hear me because her bedroom was on the side of the house next to me.
Oh, wow.
We could connect anytime, I needed to. And there was lots of times that I called on her that I needed to talk or play or do something. So those brings up such sweet memories of those childhood people. So listeners, if you're thinking about someone that you love that is a childhood friend, keep it in your mind. Maybe you want to write them a letter, pick up the phone, give them a call. But I'm going to do it to you again. I've got another story.
Oh yeah, let's make this a tearjerker one.
Story number 2. The rain whispered against the window pane, mimicking the rhythm of my heart as I stared at the blank page before me. It had been far too many years since I last saw or spoke to my childhood best friend, Sandra. Yet here I was, pen poised, ready to bridge the time gap and rekindle the flame of our long-lost friendship. Sandra and I were two halves of a whole back then. We spent days building forts in the living room, writing epic sagas in our notebooks, and whispering secrets beneath the starlit sky. We were inseparable, our laughter echoing through the streets, a testament to our shared joy. But life like the tide can wash things away. Boys, college, careers, families each pulled us in different directions. The threads of our connection slowly fraying. Our phone calls became less frequent, and the letters became shorter, and the silence settled between us, heavy and thick. With the silver strands multiplying in my hair and the wrinkles etched deeper around my eyes, I felt a pang of longing for those carefree days. Sandra's face, frozen between childhood and adulthood, flickered in my memory. Her mischievous grin, the twinkle in her eyes, and the way she tilted her head when she was listening to me intently. I dipped my pen in the ink, letting the words flow onto the page. I wrote about building forts with mismatched sheets, tastes of stolen cookies after bedtime, and the whispered we shared under the watchful moon. I wrote about my first heartbreak, my awkward crushes, shared secrets, and silent understandings. I wrote about the friendship that had been the anchor in my childhood storms. As I wrote, the years seemed to melt away. I was no longer a woman with achy joints and memories, but a carefree child again,
Wow.
running through fields of wildflowers with Sandra by my side. The laughter echoed in my ears, tears welled in my eyes, and a bittersweet blend of joy and regret. With the last word was written, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The letter, filled with the echoes of a lifetime of memories, was a bridge built over the river of time. A bridge that I hope Sandra would cross, her laughter echoing across the distance, reminded me of the bond that could never truly be broken. I folded the letter carefully, tucking it into an envelope addressed to the address I vaguely remembered. As I dropped it into my mailbox, a feeling of hope bloomed in my chest. Perhaps, just perhaps, this letter would reignite the flame of our friendship, reminding us that even though time may pass, the essence of our true connection endures. Sweet.
Whoa, you really got me going on that. It's so sweet. I mean, that's what, friendship is love, and that's what really counts.
It
That's what we
is.
remember.
And why do we let those childhood friendships go?
I don't know. We go off in different directions and we get busy.
Serious. We get serious. Like
Well,
life is serious for us when we get older. And I want it to be so much playful.
I kept thinking, of a time when I wouldn't be busy and could connect with all those things. And I think that's an interesting, your second story really reminded me, before I left New York, I was 23, 24, maybe 25, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
And I guess, no, but when I was close with these people, I was probably around 22, 23. And Heiko, who was, she was a sort of a mentor, someone who inspired me a lot. And she's the first person that told me about unconditional love. And then, there was my friend Charlie, who I was really close to,
Yeah.
and one that got killed in Chile. And, the three of us were just so close. We were different. Charlie and I were closer in age. He's a couple of years older than me. But when I was 24, she was like 49 or something. So at that time, it felt like she was a lot older than me.
Yeah.
But there was this great fun. It was like a learning friendship, but it was so fun. And we went to Central Park, and Heike had never been on a carousel.
Oh, wow.
She grew up in Germany, and just she came over here and just never in the carousel. So we bought her first carousel ride, and we had so much fun. It was just like we were children playing.
Yeah.
We rode the carousel, we bought ice creams, and then a bird pooped on my head.
Of course.
And it was just, it was just very special. It wasn't long after that before Charlie and I both left New York, and then Heike eventually left. So, but it was a very special kind of friendship, and that's what that second one made me think about. I
Yeah.
don't have the opportunity to connect with those people again because she passed away of a heart attack a
I don't
couple
know.
of
Okay.
yeah, she just her husband wrote to me, and he said they moved to New Mexico, which she loved, and she just went to bed one night and didn't wake up. And then Charlie was killed in Chile, and which is where I was going but didn't go.
Yeah.
And so, but there was very special time. Very
Yes.
special time.
And that's the folly of youth. We walk away from those situations and no knowledge or awareness that we may never see those people again. Those
I
people
know
that
you think it's forever, and
best
it's
friends and
it's not. I mean, I never after leaving New York. I mean, we wrote to each other for a while, but and she passed while I was in Europe, and then Charlie was killed, and that was it. I
yeah.
never got to see either one of them again. So it's
Yeah,
very, very poignant stories. Thank you.
yes.
But it
Well,
reminds us, if we can, I think, to reconnect.
and I'm kind of hoping that the listeners are getting that. If there's someone out there that you still have on
Yeah,
the earth that, was
do
precious to
it.
you, then pick up a pen and
Yeah.
write a letter. This such an amazing experiment that I did to, with these letters. It just opened my heart in ways that I couldn't even have imagined, And this second one, my girlfriend's name was Sandra, and she was just there for me her whole life until we weren't. When I went to
Smart.
school,
Yeah.
16,
Yeah.
I didn't know it'd be the last time I would see her. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know, setting off into the world. And so, and
Yeah.
it's never, I think I've visited maybe once or twice back there, and it's never the same. It's,
Mm-hmm.
you can't, it's so hard to get that back. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
so
Yes.
so if you're up for one more, I have one more.
Yeah. Yeah, please do.
Story number 3.
Mm.
The rain tapped rhythmically on the attic window pane, a gentle counterpoint to the scratch of my pen across the paper. Outside, the world was a hazy watercolor, but here, amidst the dusty treasures of my childhood, the past was as vivid as ever. My fingers danced over the familiar lines of my old friend's address, a portal to the time when laughter was our language and adventure our playground. Eleanor, the girl with freckles like constellations and a smile as bright as the sun, was more than a friend. She was the other half of my soul. My fingers together, we built forts in the living room, conquered mountains of pillows, and sailed the high seas on a bathtub. We shared secrets, whispered under starry skies, and dreams scribbled in crayon on faded notebooks. We were inseparable, two halves of the same whole, weaving our little world within the larger one. The years turned as they always do, and our paths diverged. Life, with its twists and turns, took us in different directions. We wrote letters faithfully for a while, each page a bridge spanning the growing distance. But as time passed, the letters became fewer and the calls became shorter.
Mm.
Even now, nestled in the comfort of my attic, Eleanor was as close as my breath. I saw her in the sun-dappled leaves of the old oak tree where we used to climb, and heard her in the melody of the wind chimes we fashioned from seashells and string. She was a part of me, woven into the fabric of my being. With a sigh, I dipped my pen back into the inkwell and began to write. Words flowed from my heart like a long dormant spring, finally breaking free. I wrote about our childhood escapades, the silly jokes that made me laugh, the dreams we shared with starry-eyed wonder. I wrote about the bittersweet ache of lost time, the yearning for those carefree days before life grew complicated. But most of all, I wrote about love, the enduring love for a friend who had held my hand through laughter and tears, who knew me better than anyone else on earth. And as I finished the last sentence, a feeling of peace settled over me. The rain had stopped, and a shaft of sunlight pierced through the dusty window pane, illuminating the attic in a warm glow. It felt like a sign, a gentle reminder that even though our paths had diverged, our bond would never truly fade. Folding the letter carefully, I tucked it into an envelope, a tiny vessel carrying a lifetime of memories.
Mm.
As I addressed it, I smiled, knowing that even the miles and years could not diminish the love between two friends, two souls forever intertwined.
Oh, that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Mm.
Oh, that's what we needed.
Yes, that's a great thing for this time of the year too.
It is, especially at the holidays,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have one of those people in your life, pick up a pen and
Connect.
write to them. That's a beautiful way to do it. Or call them,
Yeah.
like,
I'm going to call my cousin who I grew up with.
ah!
He and I have this interesting bond. I mean, we don't talk much,
Yeah,
these days or whatever, but we do have a very interesting
I
bond.
love it. I'm gonna call my girlfriend that I went to university with and see how she's doing.
Awesome.
Feel bad I left Canada. So I just wanted to end it by saying thank you, listeners, for accommodating my wanting to tell stories today. It's something we both really felt like we needed to do. So call an old friend, go down memory lane with them, share your stories and your memories together. It's special and it makes the holiday an amazing, beautiful place to make those connections and be vulnerable. Be vulnerable in a way that friends are only with each other. Be open and tell them what's going on in your life.
Mm,
Spend some time together with them. Don't make it transactional. Just
mm,
have a space of time that you're going to spend together and just let whatever's going to happen happen.
mm,
Just let it be, really authentic between the two of you. Reminisce, share your secrets, talk about what's coming up in your life and where you hope to be and what you want to do with the rest of your life. Talk about those things. Or just go play a dang game, play
mm.
Monopoly or play a card.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Play with Play-Doh, like
Mm.
paint, do something fun that you used to do
Fun.
when you were
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
like eat popcorn in your pajamas and drink crappy soda that you're not supposed to have. Or get dressed up and go to a public place, you're in costume and go to a public place, go to a concert, like nobody knows you.
Yeah.
Just go be weird.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, or do things like maybe when you were younger, you would share your favorite stories together. Read
Mhm.
stories together. People love to have stories read to them. They
Mm.
just love to sit and listen. I mean, it may sound odd to you, but it really is. I mean, so many people are big readers, but boy, you take somebody that's a big reader and you tell them a story, you read to them, they're in heaven. They feel loved. It's kind of
Joseph
love.
Campbell, he said something like, people don't care about facts, they just love stories.
Yes, they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And they love to be read to. It's like,
Yeah.
if you were lucky, that's what mom or dad or both did
Yeah.
when you're a little, poo-poo growing old, growing up. They read you
Mhm.
before you go to bed. I mean, what could feel better than that? It's
Yeah.
so nurturing and such an amazing part of your self-care. And that's really what a good friend's all about.
Yep.
Unconditional love and self-care for each.
Mhm.
Put on old music like that you used to listen to. I don't know who was. I was with someone having lunch the other day, and I think it was Neil Diamond or somebody came on, and I was like singing, and she's looking at me like, "What is that music?" Like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot. You're not old enough." but but the music of your generation, will bring all those emotions back, bring all those good memories back for you. Um, like share a spa day together, go out into the wilderness and have silence together, hold hands. Oh my God, how fun would that be?
Mhm,
Skip along by a lake and hold hands and just
mhm,
sit there and drink hot chocolate together. So leave time to experience and be with your friends. And if they're
mhm.
far away, do it on Zoom. It's not as good, but get together and, drink your
Hey, if
cacao.
you're not close enough to do it physically, do it on Zoom. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. You can drink your cacao coffee and do whatever you guys do.
Yes,
You
yes.
young guys do. I don't know what coffee you're drinking or whatever you're doing there. Just get together and make sure that you have time and spend it with your loved one, especially your childhood friends. Thank you for listening, everyone. See you
Thank you
next
for
week.
sharing that.
That was fun.